Hello and welcome to Unfudge Your Marketing. This is a show where I chat with business owners and leaders about their marketing missteps, mishaps, and things that just didn't go quite as planned on their marketing. I'm your host, I'm Christy Mitchell. I'm a marketing strategist, and I love working with mission-driven, client-centered business owners who are looking to take their business to that next level, have a bigger impact, grow for the future, all of those things, and they recognize that they need a strategic marketing plan in order to help them get there. Today, I'm super excited to welcome Miranda Von Fricken to the show. As the founder of Own Your Awesome, Miranda is a global keynote speaker, LinkedIn strategist, and personal branding evangelist who empowers women entrepreneurs and executives through her best-selling books, podcast, coaching, and workshops. She is a passionate advocate and amplifier of women's voices, showing them how to magnetize and monetize their presence. Known for her bold energy, that is very true, and faith-driven leadership, Miranda inspires others to shine a light on their stories, brands, and businesses online and on stage and be paid for it. With that, welcome to the show, lady.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Woo-woo.
Yay. Miranda and her confetti. If you don't follow her already on LinkedIn, you absolutely have to. We'll talk about that later. But I am so excited to have you on the show. We were just chatting briefly before we came on. We've known each other so long now. It feels like forever, but it's at least 3 years.
I think LinkedIn years are different than regular years, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
Yes.
We'll go with that.
It'll be a post we'll do tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like dog years, right? We'll just times it by 7. And we both have labs, so we have that shared thing. Yep. But Miranda and I have been in each other's worlds for a long time. I have brought her into my community in the past to teach on the topic of LinkedIn. She has hired me for her business. So we and we refer clients to each other. We collaborate on clients. So many awesome ways that we have worked together over the years. But I'm really excited to have this chat with you today because we're kind of putting you in the little hot seat there.
I know, I'm so scared.
To talk about your own marketing. And when we talked about you coming on the show, you mentioned your kind of past experience being heavily focused in social media for your business and how you kind of evolved and realized you needed to expand in different ways in terms of your marketing. So I'm going to leave it to you. Where do you want to start this discussion today?
How bad it was until I met you, Christy. So it's funny. I jokingly say I became an accidental entrepreneur after 4 layoffs in the corporate space, but it was divinely guided 100%. And so I build my personal brand on LinkedIn while in corporate, just, attracting people with all the cool content that I created. So when I got laid off and went really hard in my business, I just assumed I would keep doing that. I would just live on LinkedIn, which I do. I mean, I love me some LinkedIn. And I just thought social was it, right? I dabble in Instagram. I had a TikTok page and then my kid kicked me off it. She was mortified that I was on TikTok. So apparently my old ass can't do that anymore. And so I was very LinkedIn heavy, but very social focused, right? So social media was my jam. I'm all about attraction marketing. I'm all about making us a magnet. And that's what I teach. And that was my business and how I was getting business. I get a lot of my business from LinkedIn, the majority of it. If it's not a referral or a repeat customer, it's from LinkedIn. That's where we met. I just meet the most amazing people on LinkedIn. I became the host of LinkedIn Local here in my upstate New York area. And I'm known as the LinkedIn girl here. And so besides speaking on stages or coaching women and now writing books, LinkedIn is very tied to my identity. And then one day I got kicked off of LinkedIn and my freaking world collapsed. I was like, what? I was like, what? Oh my God. I told my husband, I was like, I'm not getting a job. I don't know what to He's like, call LinkedIn or something. Get back. I was like, I don't know what happened.
You're like, there is no hotline. That's actually not how it works.
Well, apparently the hotline was on Twitter. So I had a Twitter account just to get a hold of LinkedIn. I was like, I don't know what happened. Apparently every once in a while, people will get kicked off. I don't know. Upgrades or something. I really didn't know, but I did get kicked off and it changed everything.
So I got put in LinkedIn jail before, but that's not what happened to you. You just couldn't log in one day?
I couldn't. It said this account doesn't exist or something. And I was like, I screenshot it. We did a whole podcast on it. It was a whole thing. 20
what a moment of panic.
I didn't sleep for 21 hours, I just kept refreshing all the pages. And I wrote them this letter on like, I went to my husband's message DMs, and I messaged like people I knew that worked at LinkedIn. I had a lot of my clients like trying to advocate for me. I did the whole help desk ticket thing, went to Twitter, and I was like, I love you guys. I drink the Kool-Aid. I wrote the freaking book about LinkedIn. Like, how are you going to kick me off? And they were like, we're so sorry. I don't know what happened, blah, blah, blah. And so, but for 21 hours, I was like, well, I probably need to figure something else out as a backup. And we hear it all the time, but it's always like, not me. No, that won't happen to me. But it happened to me. And so that's when I came running and crying to you.
Well, yeah, especially, right? Because someone like you has focused heavily on one I mean, I know you're on Instagram too, but like LinkedIn was your primary platform, heavily focused there. And then all of a sudden one day you just can't get in. So you're like, okay, you have this moment, right? Like, okay, I guess it can happen to me. And now what do I do?
Yeah. Like I had an email list, but it was so small. I mean, I wasn't back then. This was like a year and a half ago. I wasn't a big like freebie person. Like, here's my freebies. Like, I was like, let's just hop on a call. Let's DM, let's voice memo, let's whatever. I don't even have a CRM at the time. Like, I had nowhere, not even a paper Rolodex from back in the days. Like, it was just LinkedIn, and I would search the person's name and I would find them and I would contact them. And I realized I was too dependent on that platform. And so, yeah, I had to figure out. And I think when I came to you, I was like, what, I need to do more stuff. And so obviously we did like a huge audit, and I was like, there's no need to audit. I do LinkedIn. That's it. And you're like, how about your email? How about this? How about that? And I'm like, what's that? SEM? What?
So wait a minute. I'm dying to know though. Let's close the loop on the LinkedIn story. Okay. When they were able to restore it for you, was all your stuff there? Like, it was like it never happened? It's not like you had to start from square one.
How can you freaking imagine? Oh my gosh. Don't even say that out loud. I'm going to go pray on that later.
Yeah. We might still be trying to like pull you out of the closet to like.
Yeah. I thought maybe at first it was because I have a star in my first name. Like, it's Miranda Star Von Frickin, and they know they don't like emojis in our names. And one time I went on LinkedIn and my star was gone. And people were DMing me like crazy. Where's the star? What happened? What, are you changing your brand? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I go and it's gone. And I was like, can they just take away the letter in my name? Because that's a letter. in my mind, that's a letter in my name. And I was like, what in the world? And I know other people have it, and I know they frown upon it. I'm not changing my middle name to Star, but I definitely know that it's a branding thing, and it's all about brand recognition. And for me, I love to like bring the light. I probably should have a confetti cannon there, to be honest, but I'm afraid to change the star now.
They might not let you.
They may not let me.
Don't touch it.
I know, right? I think I'm recognized as that though. Like, often people.
That's what I was gonna say. You're just like known for that, like bright. That's just you. It's your presence. You're a shining light to all of us.
Thanks, girl.
Okay, so you got kicked off LinkedIn, had like moment of panic, and then you're like, okay, this is my sign. It sounds like I really need to finally kind of start diversifying marketing. So what did you do?
I called you.
Well, I know that, but tell our listener.
Oh, I'll tell them. Okay. So I called Christy in a panic. She's like, let's hop on a call. Obviously, I did a full-on strategy session. I think we did a couple of them actually. And we just went through this whole audit of what am I currently doing? And I needed to diversify. So you convinced me that there were other ways to market myself. And I was like, well, tell me more. And so we dove into like email. Obviously, we still talked social, but we really dove into like email marketing, SEO for my website, repurposing content when it comes to content and stuff, getting a freebie to get people on my email list. I think the email was the biggest one I embraced since then. I have a podcast. I write books and I'm on stages and, all that good stuff. But I think the email list is probably, you convinced me like I can get closer to my clients that way, a little more intimate. And I just assumed it was social media because I'm very transparent. I'm very like day in a life kind of girl. And what you see is what you get. Like, this is when you go to my LinkedIn page, you pretty much feel whatever you're feeling about me, whether I'm annoying or I'm perky or fun. That's what you're getting from LinkedIn. And I didn't know how to translate that to email. Like, I feel like it's kind of weird. I mean, it's not weird now. I get it, but like in the beginning, it was uncomfortable for me to really like send emails. It felt very corporate, which I know that's not the case, but to me, it had to be uncomfortable in my marketing in order to
Mhm.
make sure that I could sustain the level of business that I desire and where I'm at now and where I'm going to continue to grow. And so I now understand that how valuable more than social is to my business.
Yes. And I just want to say, Miranda, I'm sure you already know this, but you're not the only one. Like I have been shocked with some of in and I would put you in this category. Like I see you on LinkedIn, you have this huge
Mhm.
following, huge presence, big personality, like established brand. Like you when people think of you, they think of the whole picture. And you, along with some other clients I've worked with, I'm honestly kind of shocked when I learn like that you're not doing email marketing because I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Like, if you're
yeah,
doing this here,
yeah,
what an opportunity to build this email marketing side to your marketing because I mean, just you already know this, but for the benefit of our listeners, we don't own the social platforms, as Miranda just said. They can be taken away from you in the blink of an eye. You could get hacked. You might not even get back in like Miranda did. So you don't own it. And you're at the mercy of the algorithm. Just because you post consistently and engage consistently does not mean that everyone is seeing what you're putting out there. And so when you have an email list and you're sending emails on a consistent basis with your branding, your story, your expertise, the same vibe that they're going to get anywhere else they find you online, you're showing up in their email inbox. And you could pretty much guarantee that.
yeah.
Right? Unless you're not taking care of email authentication and your emails aren't getting through, but let's assume you have all that tidied up and you're
Check all the
good.
boxes.
You're showing up in their email inbox.
Yeah.
And for the people, I just want to, well, I'm curious to get your take on this because I do still talk to some business owners who are like, email marketing's dead. What would you say as someone who didn't prioritize it and
Yeah.
has been doing more of it?
So it's still not my number one place to grab my clients. However, it does surprisingly attract a different type of client. So on LinkedIn, I get a lot of the coaching. On email, I seem to be getting more of the corporate, which I thought was so odd. So I speak, I do, HR consulting ish. I go in and teach salespeople how to sell on LinkedIn, and I teach HR teams how to recruit on LinkedIn and how to create a personal brand. And so any keynote I get comes through my website or my email. It's not they watch me on LinkedIn, and then because what's happening is they'll watch me on LinkedIn, be a little lurker bee, and I love me some lurkers. Then they look for my website to authenticate or to show my level of, I guess, business or whatever, to give me credibility to have a website. And then they'll go to my contact page and email me, or they'll check out a freebie or something. But they get on my email list, and then they'll get like the sequence that I set up. And then they eventually respond to me and they're like, hey, looking for a speaker, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, did you see me on LinkedIn? And they're like, we did. But then we went to your website. Always go to the website, which then gets them on my email list. And so they'll keep in contact with me through my email. And I'm like, maybe it's the type of clients, right? Like different people go different places. Like my one-on-ones, my private clients, my conference people I speak at, like usually come through LinkedIn. But the emails, I was quite surprised to see that I was getting more speaking gigs from my emails from the corporate companies. So I don't think email is dead. I think if you have that mentality, your business may be dead soon. So good luck. Just put it out there, because if I didn't,
said it, not me.
No, I'll say it. I don't care. Listen, I wholeheartedly believe in LinkedIn. Like, still top of my funnel, LinkedIn, got to do it. But there's so many different ways to express who you are and how to get to your clients. And I think of it. Some people think it's dead, or they hate it because of the way they play in their email box, right? So I sign up for all the things, right? I get all the freebies. I love it. I want to support everybody. I want to try all their stuff. And then I get all their emails and I'm like, who's this person? Did I sign up for something? And so it starts to become overwhelming. However, when it's the people I really like and I really want to see, like I read your emails all the time because I see your name. I've gotten used to through LinkedIn and now through email. And it's a deeper relationship, I think, in the emails. I think that's kind of the difference. Yeah.
I want to pull out a few things from this that I think are so incredibly key. One is different people have different preferences, right? And so if you're only showing up in one place or you're overly focused on one thing and not, and anyone who follows me knows I am not going to tell you as a marketing strategist you need to be in all the places and do all the things. No, that's not true either because you're going to burn yourself out. Not realistic. But you also can't just show up in one place and expect that everyone's going to show up there and engage with you there. To your point, there are lurkers who may not be engaging, but they might use that as the entry point and then start doing their research and digging in and going to your website and poking around and then getting on your email list and getting those emails and then responding someday. So that's the other key thing that I really want people to take away from this conversation is that our marketing is like a whole ecosystem. Because I think a lot of times business owners can get very singularly focused in one tactic or one platform, and they might try something new for like a few months and then be like, meh, it didn't produce results. But you can't do that in a silo. You really have, and again, this is me, the strategist, getting on my soapbox. You have to take that tactic into consideration within the larger picture of your entire marketing plan. So how are the different ways that people can reach you? And then how are you getting them to take that next step to get on your email list so that then you can nurture them?
Yeah, it really is about the nurture too, because LinkedIn, I post once a day if I do it daily on LinkedIn because, you know, it splits the difference. The algorithm will split the difference on the impressions if you post multiple times on LinkedIn. And so I can email all day. You may get off my email list because I'm driving you bonkers, and I know I email once every other week or something, nothing crazy, but I like that I can also be more specific and I don't have to like censor myself for the algorithm or who else. I mean, I'm talking just to my clients. I think that's actually a big distinction is LinkedIn. I'm talking to everybody who follows me, clients, old employees I used to hire, everybody, right? Potential clients, whatever, friends, college kids, all the people. On my email list, it's just the people who more than likely will become my clients because they signed up for something. So they said yes to me multiple times. And so I think I can be a little more salesy in my email. I know I can on LinkedIn, but like I think on email, I feel a little bit more confident being salesy, like buy my widget right now. Here's the link. Here's the whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be like that on LinkedIn. So that makes me clearly tie that to business.
Yeah.
And I think I can go deeper with them. I can tell them a story about what happened to me over the weekend. And then I can also shout out one of the business people that I work with or one of the women that I'm featuring. And it's like almost like a little baby newsletter. Obviously, that's kind of what people call them, newsletters, because you can give a lot of information depending on how often you put out emails. And then you can sell something. You can put your podcast link out there. There's just more with it. And you're talking, I think, to more a focused audience who already said yes to your business, essentially.
Yeah, I love that point. I honestly didn't even think about it through that perspective before, but that makes so much sense. And and I know you because I know you're like a little edgy and like you have more freedom on your email, right? Like you can do whatever the heck you want, but on social platforms, if you're trying to play the algorithm game, you know the do's and don'ts and what you can do and what you shouldn't do. And so I think that's a really great point that having your own email list also gives you that freedom and flexibility.
Yeah. I like the flexibility and I like and I like that you can change the banners or do pictures or no pictures. Like you could you can put a poll in there. You can be fun and you can just do all the things. And I really appreciate that actually. So yeah. I'm a huge fan of the email. Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to say too, I thought it was interesting going back to your point earlier about how you were so used to creating content for LinkedIn. That was your comfort level. That was your zone of genius. You're like, I got this. But email, oh gosh, that feels like a whole other animal that I can't even do, which I find so interesting because I had my own experience a year or so ago. I realized I was so much better at being consistent on my LinkedIn content than I was emailing. I wanted to up my email game. I had been sending my monthly newsletter, but I wanted to send more than that. I wanted to start emailing like once a week. And what I realized was, oh my gosh, I'm spending all this time crafting these like story-based posts on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Why am I not taking that and putting that in an email?
Yeah, because you can even say on LinkedIn, like, to get more of this, or I go deeper in my email list, like click a link below, whatever. Like you can same on Instagram, like everywhere you are, if you're driving them all to your email, they can see the full story. Get
Yes.
on my newsletter. You can hear more of this. I actually give like discounts, which I'm not a fan of discounts, but like if I'm trying to do like a quick cash infusion, I'll do it through emails. I don't do it through my LinkedIn because I don't want everybody and their brother to click the link. Like I want exclusive. Yeah. So I really enjoy that about the email, that you can say, listen, I'm going on vacation. Mama needs some cute outfits. Here's a deal. Here's my Venmo. No, again. And so like, I really appreciate that option, and the fact that email, I feel comfortable doing that on email.
Yes. Yeah. That's a great point. Yeah. It's a more curated audience. You can be more intentional with that message. You could offer something specific and special to them. I love all of that. And to your point, I've been seeing more and more people do this, and I need to get on board because I get in such a habit of creating my LinkedIn content, but I see so many people doing such a great job of teasing their newsletter and getting people from LinkedIn to go sign up for their newsletter. And I need to get on that train because you can build your presence as much as you want on a social platform, but getting them off that platform and getting them to give you their name and email address shows that they're a little bit more serious. And then, like you said, you have that ability to nurture them more closely and get a little more intimate with that relationship.
I do a lot of like giveaways too on my email. I don't do that at like raffles or whatever, or like when my book came out, either one of them. Like I also send like the bonus to things, right? Like if you buy a course, great, but here's a bonus to it. I'll just send the bonus out one day because I'm feeling it. You know what I mean? Like I think I think you get rewarded, I think, for that level of intimacy as the person on the email list and me providing the emails and whatever I'm putting out. I think, you should get the better stuff because I have access to you now, like more than I did on LinkedIn,
Yes. Yeah. And it shows that you're not taking it for granted that someone was willing to give you their name and email address when you're extending those special offers to your list. It shows that you appreciate them. And I love that. I need to be thinking more. Look at that. I just learned something about email marketing from you. I
love it. Well, listen, this is why people like us roll together, because we support each other, and it's just, we go further faster together. So I'm glad you learned something. Tell all your friends. Well, all your friends are listening probably.
I love it. Yeah. Hopefully they're listening. They should be. Miranda, this time flew by. I knew that it would. So we've covered a lot of great ground in terms of marketing tips and lessons learned for everyone listening. Is there any last word of advice or lesson learned that you want to leave listeners with?
I would love to tell people not to outsource their energy, whether it's on your email or it's in your LinkedIn, social media. Outsource the task of whatever, right? But not your energy. So get the final pass, or be the initial person who's given the ideas to the people writing your stuff or whatever. But my thought is really, I think one time I accidentally outsourced my content, and I would post it, but they would write it, and it just wasn't the same. And so, not that you can't outsource it, I needed to give it a final pass. This goes for ChatGPT, for all y'all out there using ChatGPT. Don't just copy paste. We know what you're doing because we've seen how ChatGPT writes. So don't outsource your energy, but outsource the efficiency. I think is probably like the best way. And not for nothing, repurpose, right? Because you taught me about repurposing. So if you repurpose your own stuff, you don't got to worry about somebody else doing it.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Don't outsource your energy. Yeah. As business owners, right? Our businesses are our babies, and we need to make sure that level of attention and energy is still there.
I think because as we get bigger, right, as we scale and we start like hiring team and outsourcing things, I think you do hire people you trust, obviously, but like you can't. I was an accidental agency back in the day, and everybody was always like, you can get more clients if you outsource, certain things. And I'm like, I'm not going to outsource these things because my clients hired me to do them. Right. Like, and so I get to know my clients, and it's a different, like you get to know your people, and you wouldn't just say to somebody like, hey, I'm the marketing guru, but I've got these 4 people on my team that I'm going to pass you off to, and you're never going to see me again. And I think there's a disconnect in business when that happens. Not that people don't expect like I interviewed with somebody to utilize their services. I talked to him. He sent me to his sales guy. The sales guy said, if I say yes to him, I'll be working with this third guy. And I'm like, every step down, I got a little more uncomfortable with giving him my money and what I was going to work with him on. And so I think that really made me realize that, like, if I talked to the initial guy and he roped me in, I think there's a reason for that. So anyway, but find a way that works for you and your clients, but outsourcing your energy, I think, doesn't always work the way you think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was an awesome last tidbit there that I feel like we could do an entire episode just talking about that. So there'll probably be a part 2 coming. Miranda, very lastly, how can people reach out, connect with you, learn more, especially about your book and your podcast? Share all the things.
Clearly, you can find me on LinkedIn. And then
Miranda Von Fricken.
Yeah, with a star in the middle. So yes, find me on LinkedIn. That's where I live. But if you go to my website, mirandavonfricken.com, I have a boat ton of freebies and ways to like experience my awesomeness. And then of course it'll take you to my email list. Then I'll give you all the freebies again and some other cool discounts and I shout out a lot of my clients and friends on my emails. So I think that's kind of the cool piece. So if we get to know each other very well, then maybe, and I have a show too. I have a show on LinkedIn called Awesome Conversations, which you've been on. So lots of ways. Start with LinkedIn and then like, let's go deeper and through email and other podcasting, all that good stuff.
Get into Miranda's funnel for sure.
Yeah.
Experience all of the things.
Listen, I believe in friendships over funnels. So although there is a funnel in business, we will become friends and you won't feel like you're in a funnel.
We'll call it the friendship funnel then.
I love it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Miranda, for taking the time to come on the show.
Thank you.